Baku once again came in with a dramatic race. So dramatic you didn't even realize that Fernando Alonso had one of his best races of the season. Hi, I'm Diamond Racing. Welcome back to my review of the race and driver's prediction. So, why take so much time away from that and just start talking about that race? Because that was one of the biggest bangers this year and it was super interesting. So, let's go through all the talking points right now. First of all, let's go through the Perez and Sainz incident. It's probably one of the biggest talking points. My opinion is there was a racing incident. I don't think anybody was at fault for that. I think it's more just the space was not that good, and Perez didn't want to give space because Carlos was against the wall. So it's not anybody's fault. I think it's just a silly incident. So that didn't impact their ratings at all. I think they both did a good job throughout the whole race. Piastri versus Leclerc and that fight to the end, that was so insane. I thought Leclerc is going to win this by far because at one point was like 5 seconds ahead. I'm not sure why he lost all that time. I think he didn't have a good car on the hards, or he didn't have any time spinning on the hards. That's why he struggled more at the end. But Piastri coming and making that move, wow, that was crazy. And I think he needs to be recommended for the great driving he has done in the last few races. But yeah, Leclerc and Piastri once again at each other's close to each other like they were in Zandvoort. So probably the new rivalry that we're going to expect in the future. Verstappen, hey, let's talk about Verstappen. Verstappen and Red Bull, they are fumbling the bag. Perez did look very good though, so I don't know. Maybe if the pace is back in the car and Verstappen is just struggling with it, but they are dropping so far behind that Verstappen was the last driver of all 8 of the top 8 drivers, except for Lewis. So that's crazy. Do you think about that? It's crazy. I did not expect that to happen this year. So that just shows you how great the season has been so far. Norris, that would happen in qualifying was definitely not his fault. He couldn't improve his time because there was a very unlucky yellow flag on his perimeter when he got there. A lot of people saying he fumbled the bag. He was quicker than Piastri before he went on that curb, but that curb doesn't take that much time. Even if he took that curb and went full speed, he would have been in the top thing. But Ocon's car was right there. There was a yellow light on his dash, so he complied with the rules. But he still had a very good race, coming from 15th to, I think, 4th, which is very good. From Norris, still finishing ahead of Verstappen. So we'll see how good he would drive in Singapore. Like I said in the beginning, Alonso did a very good job. Probably one of his best races of the year because he finished, I think it was 6th in that Aston Martin. If you look at Lance Stroll's performance, you can see that that car was not that good. But Fernando Alonso always did good at Baku that in 2018, finishing the lap on 2 wheels and then coming back to the points. And this is just good, but no one seemed to see it because it was such a dramatic race. The car that he had an amazing job, and I think he really needs to be commended for that because he had a few stinkers in the past few races, but this has been one of his best drives of the season. Let's talk about the rookies that performed in this race. And the rookies, of course, I'm talking about Colapinto and Behrman, both of them doing their second race, and both of them exceeding expectations immensely. Behrman out-qualifying Hulkenberg of all people, and Colapinto out-qualifying Albon. Would he have out-qualified him if he didn't make that mistake? I think so, because he was so fast in Q2, and the race for both of them was amazing. Colapinto finished behind Albon, but still, that was such a good race from Colapinto. The movie Man on Gasly was incredible, and Behrman, I'm not sure why he finished behind Hulkenberg. I knew Hulkenberg overtook him, But Behrman fought like a lion against Hamilton, and I think he kept him at bay for a very long time. But I'm very happy for both of these rookies. I hope Colapinto gets a seat for next year, I really do. Stroll versus Sonoda. On the first or second lap, Stroll made contact with Sonoda doing a dive that he shouldn't probably have done, damaging both their cars. Sonoda got the worst of it and retired. That's why I could only put him in the honorable mention section that you will see. So yeah, Stroll also had a failure with the brakes. I don't think that's in connection with the accident, but because of that, he was battling for last place the whole time. So what can you do? Very weak race from Stroll, while his teammate was doing incredible job up in the field. And lastly, before we get into the ranking, McLaren are finally back in P1 in the Constructors' Championship, I think, since 2012. Well, no, 2016, I think. No, 2014 with the Magnussen podium. That's very incredible to see, and I'm very happy for them. Red Bull only second and Ferrari not far behind, so we'll see how far this goes. Bak was a crazy race. I've already talked like 6 minutes just about the talking points. Let's quickly go to the driver ratings and, of course, my week predictions. My on the bench, like I said, is Yuki Tsunoda. I can't really rank him if he only did the qualifying, and he out-qualified his teammate, which is very good. So all I can say about Yuki is he had a good qualifying. That was not his fault what happened. He did not put the squeeze on Stroll. Stroll was just very optimistic. 19th place is going to be, and last is going to be Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon crashed in qualifying, destroying a few drivers' laps, especially Norris's, and that was just weak. I know he struggled a lot because he didn't have much practice time, but still, crashing in Baku is not a good sign. And in the race, he did not do a very good job against his teammate. His teammate was so much faster, so much better, but he did okay. I think he did the best that he could with the time he had, but that performance could only get him into P19. P18 is a driver we just talked about, Lance Stroll. Not a very good qualifying, probably the worst qualifying of him in a while, and his race was just very bad as well. So P18, not much to talk about. He was just lazy, and what can I say? Still don't know why he is being kept at Aston Martin. I hope Adrian Newey just like, no, get a better driver, because just no. P17, Zhao Guanyu. The first time in a while he's outperformed his teammate in the race, but he as well had a very bad qualifying, almost being more than half a second behind his teammate. So that's not good. So his qualifying is the main reason he's so low. So it's the new puppy. I'll show you now. Look at the new puppy. Isn't he cute? Very naughty, but so cute. Okay, let's go on. Zhao Guanyu. He didn't have a very good qualifying, but a good enough race. P16 is going to be a surprising one. That is going to be Max Verstappen. Why did I put Max Verstappen so low? Someone wants to be in the conversation. It's this one. Okay. Why is Max Verstappen so low? Because he had a very abysmal weekend. Probably his worst weekend pace-wise in his whole career, maybe? Pace-wise in his whole career, not crash-wise, but being out-qualified by Checo by a very big margin, and then in the race, finishing before the crash, he would have finished P8 or P7, which is very bad. Norris was faster than him, and he started like far behind. So I'm not sure what happened there. I'm not sure what this dog wants. P15 is going to be his old rival, Lewis Hamilton. Almost the same as Verstappen, but Hamilton, I don't know what happened. He's struggling with the car, especially like in qualifying. I think he would have had a much better race if he started on where he qualified, but he changed the power unit for some reason. I'm not sure if he had a bad If he had a bad engine, I'm so sorry about this. But he did his job, but he didn't do it as good as Russell did. Russell just had a chill race. He just had a struggling race. He struggled to get past lots of drivers, so not the best. He just complained the whole race long. It's not good. Verstappen and Hamilton had the same score, but I'm giving Hamilton a benefit of the doubt because he started from lower down. P14, Nico Hulkenberg got out qualified by Ollie Behrman in his first race for Haas, which is not a good sign. I don't know how good Hulkenberg is at Baku. I'm not sure with the track record, I didn't watch, but very impressive from Behrman because Hulkenberg is a very good qualifier. So I was not expecting that to happen. And in the race, they had similar pace. I think Hulkenberg just had a little bit more in the bag. Behrman made a few mistakes. But Behrman still finished ahead of Hulkenberg. I don't know what happened in the end because I saw Hulkenberg drop. I'm not sure what happened. If someone know what happened, please let me know because I couldn't find anything anywhere. So that's why Hulkenberg is 14th. P13 is going to be Ricciardo. Okay, he was out in Q1, had decent enough race. It's hard to compare him against Tsunoda because Tsunoda didn't finish the race, but Tsunoda was ahead of him before the damage happened, which happened on the first lap. So yeah, didn't make any mistakes, didn't make any crashes, was just there. I don't think they showed him much either. So P13 for Ricciardo. P12 is going to be the one half of the incident happened on the last few laps. Carlos Sainz, he's here not because I think it's his fault for the crash. He's just here because of the performance. Qualifying wasn't bad, but it was more than half a second off his teammate, which is what I use to rank and give scores to the drivers. And in the race, it was decent. Leclerc was just so much better. All the fighting pulled him close, almost overtaking Leclerc, but I think the mistake was more on his part. Maybe that played a little bit into his ranking, but Sainz only P12. P11 is going to be Valtteri Bottas. Once again, Valtteri Bottas is probably the hardest driver to rank in this kind of videos because he has the slowest car, and all you have to do is look at his teammates. And his teammate isn't that good at the moment. Qualifying, like I said when I talked about him, very good from Bottas. His race, not as good because he was behind his teammate for a lot of that race and he finished behind as well. So that's why Bottas is P11. Our first point scorer, P10, is Alexander Albon. Hard to say where he would have qualified if that mistake didn't happen on the Williams part, so which is weird. Very weird incident, but he did a very good job, I think. Qualifying very good. His race was very, very good. Defending Norris for as long as he can and then making that hard tire work. He had a very good race. He was probably in my top 5 of the races, maybe. So, P10 for all his troubles. P9 is the runner-up in the championship, Lando Norris. Qualifying, he didn't have a bad qualifying, but I did reprimand him a bit because of the mistake he made. And in the race, he had a very, very decent race. Not as good as his teammate, but I think very good. That's why it's only going to be P9. Still in the best half, but still not the best performance I could have given Norris. P8 is going to be Pierre Gasly. Finishing P13 in the qualifying, but then getting disqualified for a fuel flow irregularity. And the race itself was very decent. He started behind his teammate and he destroyed his teammate. He finished like far ahead of him. So that just showed you he was fighting Colapinto at one point, which Colapinto finished way up in the points. So Gasly had a very decent race. So yeah. P7 is going to be Ollie Behrman, one of the two rookies. Like I previously said, very, very decent race, but amazing qualifying. As qualifying, Hulkenberg was just amazing. I can't stop talking about it. And I actually do hope Behrman takes Magnussen's seat for the rest of the year, but probably contract problems and stuff would not let that happen. But still, Behrman did an amazing job. I think his race pace just needs a little bit better but still very, very decent. P6 is going to be George Russell doing George Russell things, just staying behind, waiting for drivers to crash and getting a P3, a P2, or a P1. That's the that's the new George Russell. I don't even remember Mr. Saturday, even though he had a very good Saturday. I'm out qualifying Hamilton, out qualifying Verstappen. Very good. What can I say? He is just there, just calm. He just had a decent race, a very good qualifying, but he did the best he could in his P6, P3 on the podium. Amazing. P5 is going to be Franco Colapinto, and I'm so glad he's in the top 5 because I really hope this driver gets a seat. This performance made Sauber go like, Bortoleto or Colapinto? I would really like to see Bortoleto in F1, I really do. I would like to see Colapinto in F1 as well. Bring another team in F1, you stupid scumbags. Yes. Colapinto had an amazing drive. Qualifying was amazing. I don't know if he would have out-qualified Alex Albon if that incident didn't happen. But he had such good pace in Q1 and Q2, so I think that could have been a probability. And the race was just amazing. He did so good, and he scored freaking 4 points. That's 3 more than Sargent scored his whole career. It's amazing. So yeah, Colapinto is P5. P4 is going to be the man of the hour, Sergio Perez. Very sad to hear his father had a heart attack because of the crash. I hope he's okay. But Sergio Perez had a very, very good weekend. Probably his best performance in so long, I can't even remember. Probably like last year Baku. So Baku is his track. He's the king of Baku, whatever you want to call him. If he would have finished on a podium probably, and then he would have furthered what his record at Baku. But Perez was decent, on fire, and he outperformed Max Verstappen on such a level that if he continues like this, he may be securing his seat, but it's hard to overlook the whole season of disasters. So we'll see what happens in Singapore, if he's back to his normal or back to his poor. So we'll see. Our first driver on the podium is going to be third place, Oscar Piastri. Why is Oscar Piastri third? He's the winner of the race. Yes, he is. He had an amazing, amazing race. He is my driver of the race. But his qualifying was okay. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard to compare him with Norris because Norris didn't go into Q3 and Q2, and Norris was faster than him in Q1 before he made that mistake. So his qualifying was amazing. He finished P2. Could he have gone for the win, for the pole? I'm not sure how fast that car is. I'm not that kind of person that's good with analytics, how fast is the car and that stuff. But he's P3, very close to P2 and P1. Probably one of his best weekends. Better than Hungary, in my opinion. Better than Spa. I think this is Piastri's best race weekend ever. P2 is going to be Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was not my best qualifier or my best racer, but I think he was second in both of them. And he had such good pace in Baku. I don't know where he gets that qualifying pace from and what happens on the Sunday, because he's gotten 3 or 4 times in a row he's got a pole here, but not the win. That's just like the Monaco curse, but now in a different place. But he didn't do anything wrong. I think he defended this best he could. Oscar just gave it his best shot and did the most audacious overtake I've ever seen at Baku, probably like Ricciardo did a few years ago. It was amazing to watch. I was on my feet probably the whole race. So yeah. First place is going to be Fernando Alonso. You're probably going to scream at me. I don't care. Alonso had an amazing race, amazing qualifying. He was my qualifier of the. He was my best qualifier, and his race was decent. So that's why he's first, because he did nothing wrong. He was so much quicker than Stroll. He was the best of the race by so far, And yeah, he just did a very good weekend. So that's why he is going to be my number one, my winner of the weekend. Let's really go through my predictions, which was, like I said, awful. Sorry, I had to like open up my book because I forgot what I said. My good drive was Norris. He still had a good drive, in my opinion. My bad drive was Aston Martin. It was not as bad as the past few races. This has been the best they scored in a while, so that's why I'm not gonna give it to me. Paul Norris, I think I cursed him. P5 Sainz, no. P4 Verstappen, so close. P3 Russell, I actually predicted Russell gonna get the podium here, so yeah. P2 Piastri, yeah. P1 Norris, and my crazy prediction is Ricciardo is gonna outperform Yuki. He did not. I think if Yuki didn't crash, well, had a crash with Lance Stroll, he would have finished ahead of him. So, yeah, that was my talk. This was longer than usual because Bulk Wash is that crazy. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoy Singapore in a couple of days.